Dollywood?
Sorry?
You ever been to Dollywood? Because I know you're...
No, I actually haven't.
Yeah, I've been there once. Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm actually not a theme park person, believe it or not. I hate roller coasters.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, hey, you and my mom, okay? So there you go. I mean, that's no problem.
Yeah.
Well, it is...
I've never been to Hershey Park either.
You're missing out on a chocolate there. I'm telling you. Some people are like, here, what's he talking about here to begin with that? Yeah, my cousins who owned a dairy farm actually used to sell their milk to Hershey's for the chocolate bars, actually. That's true, actually. Anyway, hey, it's time for Asian House Vol Talk with Caleb Calhoun. That's the sort of scuttlebutt you hear us discuss between the commercials here. Caleb Calhoun is the editor of all4tennessee.com, and this, in my opinion, is unquestionably the best off-season Tennessee Volunteers website because of some of the wonderful list type of articles, historic articles that really get you to say, you know what, I remember that. And, and then start discussions and all that, either with people online or just your friends and family and all this. And I really think very highly of those articles. But I guess right now, where to begin with talking about, I guess, basketball of all things. The Kerry Blackshear Jr. Recruitment continues. He was in Knoxville. I'm reading some things in Kentucky that maybe he's leaning that way. I think the Vols need him. But now that we're in, I don't know, what is this, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, that sort of thing? Tell me a little bit about where you think the Vols stand in this recruitment for the post player that they really need on the hardwood next year.
Call me crazy, but I think that they are more in contention with Texas A&M to get him than they are with Kentucky. I think if you're Kerry Blackshear, you're a grad transfer senior, you got to think immediately. If you think from Kerry Blackshear's perspective, you've got to think immediately, where am I going to play the most? Because I want to try to position myself for the pros next year. And I mean, he could end up playing with Kentucky and being the veteran blue guy, but John Calipari always has those elite recruits, and that you could end up being buried in the depth chart if it doesn't work out. Whereas if you go to Tennessee, I mean, I think you and I both agree, if Kerry Blackshear goes to Tennessee, he's automatically the starter at power forward at that point, and he's automatically playing for a program that might likely have 3 NBA draft picks this year. Now, again, if he goes to Texas A&M, he gets the familiarity aspect where he knows he can perform at a high level. So I think that's another advantage. But I don't see what advantage Kentucky provides for Blackshear individually unless he just wants to be part of a program he thinks is most likely to win a national title.
I could see that. And by the way, I do think that he is a key component. I mean, you say national title, but yeah, I mean, I could see where the Vols, this could be the difference between conference contention next year, national rankings. You become a nationally ranked team, I think you got a chance to make a run in the NCAA tournament. Now, you can read about this. Your co-writer, Billy Williford, has an article up, What to Make of the Kerry Blackshear Rumors and such. And we touched upon this before. This is the only thing that bothers me about Blackshear, is that possibly you might wipe away a scholarship from, a player on the bench. And really, you're cutting one player to bring in another that you've already given a commitment to. I'm worried about that happening from an ethical standpoint. Is that, if Blackshear comes to Knoxville, how it'll occur?
I mean, I was reading, and I'm not entirely sure, but I'm getting mixed reports because I was under the impression that Bailey's scholarship doesn't necessarily count towards the team until he's eligible to play next year.
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
Now that would make sense, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's okay, because the reason I was thinking that is because Barnes is on the recruiting trail right now, offering other guys for 2019, giving out a few late offers. And I think he's doing that on the chance that he doesn't end up landing Blackshear. So it seems to me, I think the deal is Bailey's scholarship doesn't technically count against the Vols' limit until he's eligible to play in 2020, 2021. But I will say, I mean, I know in football, coaches do have mean, Nick Saban has abused this rule where he oversigns and then he sends a couple of guys to prep school, and I'm with you. I don't think that should be allowed. You know, we sit there all day and lament players who decommit and who decide to go to different programs and say, oh, you know, what happened to signing your name on the dotted line? Well, what about a coach signing his name on the dotted line? How come they're not held to a standard when they're making tens of millions of dollars to coach these unpaid athletes?
I had a friend who was an assistant coach at Gannon, which is a D2 school in Erie, PA, and he was once telling me about a player. Yeah, he transferred in from Penn State. Paterno really gave him a, that sort of thing, a dirty deal, okay? He didn't use that in all this, but it happens, and yeah, I mean, it's something that in college sports fandom where our team is never wrong, we somewhat wink at it or don't even pay any attention to it, doesn't make it right, and well, that's why I like Caleb Calhoun, because he's got some journalistic integrity right there. He is the editor of allfortennessee.com. NBA draft. We're talking so much. Is Tennessee now a basketball school, I guess? But it's what's on the table right now, and as many as 3 volunteers could be drafted into the NBA on Thursday. Do you think all 3, Schofield, Williams, and Bone, will be selected, Caleb?
I do. I think all 3 are going to end up being selected, which is shocking to me. I thought Schofield would be the hardest to sell for an NBA draft team to take a chance on, but I mean, everything I'm seeing, I mean, he might end up going higher than Bone. Now, I think that's a mistake. I think Jordan Bone has much better NBA potential than any of the 3 guys, but I mean, it sounds like all the mock drafts I'm seeing hint that all 3 are going to go, and I'm shocked by that. I knew Grant Williams would go. I was a little more on the fence of Schofield and Bowen, mostly Schofield, but yeah, I mean, don't forget, Kyle Alexander's getting worked out. He's not going to get drafted, but you could easily see him landing with the team too.
Now, Bone really impressed in his workouts. Didn't he have, like, the fastest time at the Combine and the 3/4 run on the floor and such? I mean, he really went to the point where, like, teams like the Phoenix Suns and all of a sudden were saying, we need a point guard. What about this guy? And all that. I mean, how much did he impress at that Combine? What are some of the feats that he did that you're aware of?
Well, the thing, he had a more impressive vertical and speed than Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook coming out of college, and those guys only got drafted because of their athleticism. Bone has athleticism that outmatches theirs, and he's a better jump shooter coming out of college. And I mean, I think a more controlled player coming out of college too. Now, Derrick Rose is pretty controlled, but I think anybody who's watched basketball in the NBA over the last few years knows Russell Westbrook still hasn't learned to control himself when playing point guard. And so that's an amazing comparison for Bone to be in that category, and he's much better developed. I mean, you know, there's a lot of valid criticisms of Rick Barnes, but he does have a pretty good track record of developing talent for the NBA with guys that stay with him. And so playing under Rick Barnes, I think, for 3 years has been very beneficial to Jordan Bone. So I think a lot of teams are looking at that and thinking, you know, maybe we should take a chance on this guy. The only thing that's holding them back is, well, heck, you got this guy in Jordan Bone who has better measurables than Westbrook or Derrick Rose. You got this guy, Grant Williams, who's a potential first rounder, and then this other draft pick in Admiral Schofield. Why the heck did they not get further than the Sweet 16 this year, is what I think a lot of people are asking.
Well, let me, two things on that in terms of Bone, and we mentioned his combine, but I have always been more sympathetic to you did it on the court than I have you did it in the combine. You know, wait a minute. Fletcher McGee over here, he made more three-pointers than anybody in the history of college basketball, D1. You know, let's look at that. And I guess it's that I've always seen some undersized football players do pretty well. And I wonder, just what are your thoughts there, combine versus what you did out on the floor?
I am 100% on your side with that. I am 100% go with what they did on the floor, or on the field for that matter, and not what their measurables are at a combine. I think my rule is, and it's always been, depending on the position you're playing, I mean, the easiest one to go with is quarterback for this, but there's a baseline that you have to meet at a combine. You know, I mean, for instance, I think Kellen Moore performed well on the field in college football. I never thought he could have a long NFL career because he didn't meet a baseline of arm strength. But after you cross that baseline, all that matters is what you've done on the field. And potential. And I've seen a lot. I mean, to me, the most consistent best star of the last 20 years was Tim Duncan. He was a 4-year college player. No one wants to talk about that, but I would argue Tim Duncan was a better player in the NBA than Kobe Bryant was. And
I know where you're going with that, and I'm not a big NBA fan at all, but I know where you're going with that. And it's an interesting, it's certainly a legitimate argument and such. Anyway, hey, we talked basketball. We're going to talk some football. I know that Jeremy Pruitt has made some observations on Sports Talk Radio, and he says he'll take his staff above anybody's. We'll talk about that next. Vault Talk, Asian House Vault Talk continues after this.